KISS Expo. Please welcome our special guest, Vinnie Vincent.
Woo, Vinnie!
Vinnie.
Hi. How are you? Oh, you're still beautiful. Look.
Hey, listen to you.
Don't you get tired of looking so beautiful? I told you. How you doing?
Toronto, last Sunday, remember?
Yeah, I sure do. How you doing?
Great.
I gotta shake some more hands.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, if you want to be alive.
How you doing? Doing all right? Yeah.
You rock, man. You rock. Get back out here, man.
Hi, Richie.
Hi, Vin. How you doing?
Doing good.
I'm sorry.
I don't really have any questions, but let's start. I have some prepared here from someone else. Mike Granville is on the side of the stage here from Chicago. But put that down for a second. I just want to say that for me, Lick It Up in particular was the best KISS album since
Creatures of the Night.
Since the one right before.
Yeah.
And I haven't good since, and I really personally feel that a lot of that has to do with you and all of that.
Thank you so much.
And I hope everyone out there agrees with me.
Got it.
You're awesome, Vinnie.
Thank you very much. It's really a big compliment. We're going to sit down because we think it'll make it a bit more intimate and try to make it more of a, less of a question and answer here. We were trying to figure out how to do this, so we're just going to talk. You think that's a good way to do this? Just talk?
Awesome.
A lot of times when you ask questions, they come out a little stiff, so we'll try our best. We'll try to answer a lot of things that people want to know.
Well, for me, how about we'll do what I want to know? The heck with it.
No.
Just joking.
No, what do you want to know? It's
So I want to know.
It's great having a friend here because you get to talk to a friend, someone you know.
It's kind of like the late night show. Late night with Vinnie Vincent.
What's that?
This monitor sucks, by the way.
Hey, how about we get some of us up coming through?
Yeah, can we do that?
That's what's driving me crazy. I'm not hearing myself.
Guys, are they up there? Or?
Hello.
I've got too much feedback! But anyway.
9 years.
I know. And she's still absolutely beautiful. After 10 years.
She was probably 15.
You suck up, Vinnie.
No, she was 5 then. 15 now.
15 now, that's what it is. So after making such a great album, Lick It Up. I gotta tell you, I was a KISS fan going way back on the first few albums, and in particular the first 4 or 5, I guess. And then I kind of had a little bit of a lull doing that disco tune. It was great, but still disco. And then I thought the upswing came on Lick It Up, and then all of a sudden you were gone. You know, it's like they're lost. But what made you leave?
This is a very, very fragile question, and the answer is even more delicate. So, to put it tactfully, we have a history, a problem of doing business. And it really is simply down to that. And I'm very hesitant about answering it that way because I think they've left people with such wonderful records and incredible memories and a way of life that affects so many people that it's really hard to talk to somebody about the inner workings personally and professionally and business-wise because it's not always the most comfortable thing to talk about and to listen to. I think it's even harder to hear if you're a fan than it is to say it. And for me, one of my difficult things, or one thing that was really hard for me, was being a Beatle fan. And here were these 4 friends that gave me the best music of my life and the best memories of music I ever had, and finding out that they didn't get along with each other and there were business problems and backstabbing and bad things said by a thing. And I said, gee, I don't really want to know that. You know, they left me with too great a precious thing, and I don't really want that disturbed. You know, I wanted to keep it nice and clean and new and shiny, and it's like in my heart, and all of these wonderful memories and feelings, and the Ed Sullivan Show, and the haircuts, and the you know, and you go, oh, that's please don't mess with that.
Well, it's the same thing with KISS, with the makeup, and
yeah.
flames, and all the great stuff.
Well,
Well,
that's it.
any band that works close together really has has problems, except the band that I was in. We never had problems.
Well, there's some bands that never do. I'll tell you, I think what I'd like to do is really give you some stories, to tell you some details about it. And that way you can, you know, it'll help people to know what happened. And is that all right? Yeah. Is that good, or are these more superficial answers better? I mean, you tell me. Tell me what you really want to know.
Details.
You want sordid details?
Well, sordid, you know, it's a little uncomfortable to go that deep, but I'll give you a good synopsis of what happened. Well, the truth is good, you know. Sometimes it's not comfortable, but it's still the truth. Let's see. I'll start by going beginning in LA. I moved there in '78 because you talked about disco. Dan Hartman, who used to be with Edgar Winter Band. Yeah. I know that movie you're talking about. I remember that. Huh? It was a disco record, but it wasn't my record though. Dan Hartman, I think, was a brilliant songwriter musician. He worked with all the Winter Brothers, Johnny and Edgar, Rick Derringer. He was in the Edgar Winter group during Frankenstein. He wrote Free Ride. I mean, this guy was brilliant. To me, this was an era for me because I was a big Edgar Winter White Trash fan. To me, that was the band in the early 70s, and it killed me. I mean, I wanted so much to be in the Edgar Winter White Trash group that I couldn't think of anything else. And I was a fan. I found out where he lived. I went to his mansion and said, please give me a chance to be in the band. You know, God, I want to play with you so bad. I can't stand it. You know. That was what and who I loved. I loved the Winter Brothers. And anyway, now we're talking about early 70s here, but Dan Hartman was a real key factor with taking Edgar Winter to commercial success with Free Ride and that whole thing. Anyway, I met up with him a little bit later, maybe 1977. And I was in a group with Felix Cavalier at that point called Treasure. Felix was another hero of mine.
Let them know who Felix is. I don't know how many of these people know.
Good love, good love.
Young Rascal.
Young Rascals, good lovin', ain't gonna eat out my heart anymore, groovin', girl like you. God, help me name some more. Come on up. I mean, you and I are back to that period, and that was one of the best bands ever. He was the coolest voice.
Young Rascals, you guys know who they were?
Oh yeah.
I've been very lucky because I've got to play and to become friends with people that were heroes to me. And when I was 15, 16 years old, I mean, there was nobody better than the Young Rascals. And the Vanilla Fudge. Remember the Vanilla Fudge?
Sure, the Hammond organ.
Right.
Those days.
Carmine Apiece I later teamed up with. We had a band too.
Yeah?
Yeah, we had a band
Great
too.
drummer.
Oh, I know. He was great. So I was really fortunate in that manner, but you know, I never thought I would. For me, I could play with my idols. To me, that was, you know, fantasy come true for me because this is the music I grew up on and made me feel great to be alive. Right? I mean, we remember that stuff. We know what that time was. Anyway, Felix Cavalier puts a band together called Treasure on Epic Records. I was picked to be the guitar player. We did one record, and it was a learning experience. I loved it. We had a wonderful time.
Great drummer.
Great drummer, Jack Scarangella. Anyway, what ended up happening was it was short-lived, and I was living in Connecticut at the time. Dan Hartman also lived there, and I really begged him to be in the band. I wanted to play with this guy because I thought he was just the best, you know? And, you know, you write a song like Free Ride and things like, you know, being in that band with Frankenstein, I said, wow, this is it for me, you know? I love this stuff. This was music that affected me when I was growing up. So anyway, it really worked. We teamed up, we got together, and we started a rock band. But in his trip though, he was growing away from rock and he was into a disco scene. And disco was really big. I hated disco and passion. Yeah, I mean, I hated this stuff. You know, this was like, why are you such a great songwriter and doing this music I can't relate to? It's like rap. You know, rap doesn't do anything for me, but, you know, if I was picked to be in a rap band,
Vinnie.
you know, but, I mean, it's not my thing. It's okay. You know, I'm still a rocker, you know, that's okay. Anyway, so where were we? So he started a disco thing, and he did this on the side. First he started a rock band, and the disco thing caught on. It was a side thing. It was actually, he had a big hit. It was called Instant Replay. He recorded it himself in his house. And, you know, I think he was torn. He wanted to do rock, then he wanted to do disco. But his disco record really prevailed. That really was dictating where he was going to go with his life. And he recorded an album. He had asked me to play and sing on his record, and I thought that was wonderful. Anyway, this Instant Replay took off around the world. It was a big hit. And he says, we have to cancel the rock act and go to Europe to do these songs, to do this song. And anyway, we appeared on every...
So you went as the guitar player?
Went as the guitar player in this disco thing, lip syncing, and went all through Europe on this incredible free ride through Europe, and you know, stayed at all the best of the best hotels, and had the ball of my life. I mean, it was really great. But I kept saying, you know, I'm making $120 a week, and man, I'm all over Europe. I'm having a great time, but
There's a lot of money in 77.
You know, even back then I said, geez, I'm making 100. Where am I going to spend this? All in one place or what, you know? Anyway, so I said, but I don't want to be doing this. You know, it's fun to lip sync, but after a while, you know, you get a little tired of this. And I want to play rock here, you know? So we came back to the States and ended up in California, so we have to do some TV shows. So we did Dinah Shore Midnight Special with the Jackson 5.
I think I saw that.
And, you know, things like that. And Don Kirshner's Rock Shop. And still lip syncing. We never once played live. So finally in LA, he says, hey, you know, the band, we're disbanding, you know, it's over. So I'll give you a ticket back to New York, or you can stay here. And I said, gee, this place is the best, you know, California, you know, like turning on color TV after watching this little black and white.
Well, the 70s was LA's peak.
Oh, it was incredible. So I looked in my pocket and I said, yeah, but all I have is $50 left out of my paycheck. So it was a question of, I want to stay, but, you know, I got $50 on me. So what we did was, I said, you know, I'm going to stay. I'm staying here. I don't know how I'm going to live, but I'm staying here. So I ate very little, hung out at some clubs and met some people and asked them if I could stay on the floor for a while, you know, and made some friends with some little cockroaches that crawled by after a while on these floors. And you know, let's see, how long, that was about a 2-year period.
77, 78, 79.
You know who I met in LA? I don't know if you know this guy. You know who Kim Fowley is?
Oh, I know Kim Fowley.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Talk
he
about
managed,
he
besides
wrote
the
with Kiss
Runaways.
too. Didn't he work with
He
Kiss?
wrote some Kiss tunes with them, and
Kim was
he was in a band of his own. What was the name? In the 50s.
Well, he the Runaways. That was his.
But he had a band where he actually wrote songs, sang it.
Sang it, yeah. He was actually a pretty talented guy.
What was it?
Who?
Alley-oop.
Oh my God,
That's
it
it.
was. It was. And he was a real street urchin. You know, the LA, the LA street urchin. What's the word? I'm looking for a word. I can't think of it. But anyway.
Urchin.
Well, no, he's like the you know, the one, the prototype.
Yeah, him and Robbie Bingham.
That's right. So anyway, teamed up with him. He hired me to play some guitar and some demos, and he knew I would. He liked these songs I was writing, and he wanted. I'm tired of walking around LA, so my mom and dad sent me a plane ticket to come home. That was it. Mom and dad.
Back to Connecticut?
Back to New York, Connecticut. Yeah. I went back and I said, gee, what am I going to do now? Then I heard Edgar Winter was looking for a guitar player. I said, wow. So I auditioned for his band and I was his guitar player. Yeah, and I mean, that was heaven for me, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, here I am playing with Edgar Winter, who I love so dearly.
Who else was playing with him at the time?
That's Kenny Aronson, remember him?
Okay, yeah, I played with Kenny in Stories.
Yeah, Kenny's a great bass player. Paul Jacobs played keyboard, an incredible keyboard player. Edgar obviously played all the sax and stuff. Anyway, we were keep playing at Rock and Roll and Frankenstein and Free Ride. We were doing all these songs that I loved, you know, so much. And anyway, that lasted about almost a year, I think. And finally, I forgot how it ended, but it wasn't right for me anymore. You know, it was.
Yeah, it hasn't been really.
It wasn't right. We were doing clubs.
Nostalgic.
Right. It was more nostalgic for me, and I really felt that I was growing up as a musician, and that was wonderful for them. And as much as I loved them, I really wanted to do something. You know? So this was 1979, and I had enough money. We moved back to LA. I moved back there because I couldn't forget it. I loved it so much. I moved back, and I found this great little bungalow to live in. Had palm trees everywhere, and I was still walking. You know, I finally bought this 1965 Dodge Dart for $500. It was all the money I saved up, and it ran. I mean, you know, I got in and it drove. You know, and I said, "Wow, I'm living in LA on my own." You know, I made it. I finally made it. You know, I got my car. So anyway.
Playing bands in LA?
Well, when I finally got there, I auditioned for Cher. She was the first big thing I auditioned for.
Big thing.
Oh, that was it. And she paid $1,500 a week. And that was
probably
like $1 million a week.
And who was her boyfriend?
Let's do that.
Oh, was it before Gene or after?
This is, I don't know. Good question, 1980. 79, 80.
It's after Gene.
And, you know.
After Greg, after Sonny, after Gene.
This is what I remember from auditioning for her. She had so many good, she must have every guitar player in LA that came through this door in SIR. And there I was, you know, it was my turn, you know, playing away with their band, and I said, wow, I'm meeting Cher, this is unbelievable. And I think she came up to me, she was really nice, really nice. She said, can you come back tomorrow night? And I said, can I come back? What are you kidding? You know, I'll sleep here, you know? So I did. I came back the night after. You know what happened? I walked through that door and I had my guitar. And I'm here. You know, wow. And Les Dudek was playing guitar. And I think she was having a thing with him because that was it. I never got to play again. Never got to play again. That was it. Oh, I was crushed. I mean, it took me weeks to get over there. But I figured, you know, all right, so she's got something going on, so there's a reason.
He was a good player.
He was a good player, and, you know, they were hugging, and, you know, that was their thing. And I walked in and walked right back out, and I knew what was going on. But, you know, it's all part of the experience, you know. Shortly after that, I was asked to play in this group called Susad and the Next. And they were on Planet Records. And you do, really. And they were doing a band.
New Wave thing.
It was a New Wave thing, that's right. New Wave was really big in LA in 1980. The short ties, or the skinny ties, pop groups, the Knack. Anybody remember these bands? My Sharona?
Devo and Ohio.
My Sharona, this band called the Knack, they were playing everywhere in town. I mean, that was it. They were a club band playing everywhere, and you know, I used to go see them a lot. And said, well, you know, what do I do with all the Marshalls that I saved? You know, what do I do with my amps like this? You know, nobody used these things anymore. But Van Halen were playing at the Starwood, and there was still like this underground rock thing, but the real popular thing was
New Wave,
pop stuff, Beatles stuff,
small guitar sounds,
real small sounds, and I met up with Carmine Appice, and he said, you know, let's put a band together like that, you know. And I wrote all these Beatles, you know, pop songs, and we had a band called Carmine and the Rockers.
Who was playing bass?
Don't even remember. We had a few bass players.
Keyboard player?
No, it was just guitar, bass, drums, and like a rhythm guitar. It was like a band like the Beatles. I mean, we wrote things like that. I did most of the writing, and we tried to get a record deal, but it didn't pop. It wasn't authentic, you know. And eventually, him and I got to turn the amps up and start to go back to what we liked to play. But here was another thing with, like, this guy was my idol. I loved him. I mean, this is like one of, to me, the best rock drummer that I had lived through.
At that time, sure.
So, anyway, one thing led to another. I did this thing with Susat on Planet Records. That led me into writing with some guy. From there, we wrote a song called Tears. That song called Tears, it was a song I wrote. He added a few things. They recorded the song called Tears for the record. From there, the guy I was writing with was named Adam Mitchell. And we were writing some things. He was a staff writer for Warner Brothers. Good writer, real good writer. And Tears came out really well. And the next thing I knew, Adam says to me, I'm writing with Gene Simmons. Do you want to meet him? I said, yeah, great. Are you kidding? That would be amazing. So Gene was at his house one day, and
Gene had already moved to LA?
I think so. They were in the process of trying to write songs for the Creatures of Night record. But that record had not been formulated yet. You know, they were still, I think Ace had just left. They were trying to find their identity. Eric had just joined.
Was that Eric's first album?
I think it was his first album. I think it was second.
Unmasked.
What was his first?
Unmasked.
Yogurt. Somebody's yelling yogurt.
Unmasked.
Was Eric on that?
Was Elton really the first Eric?
No,
You
he was on
gotta forgive me.
Unmasked.
You really forgive me because I didn't know what Eric
He was on
didn't know
Unmasked.
what his first album was.
Well, that was kind of a bomb at the time for Kiss.
I remember them talking about that it was, you know, not one of
Which was not a bad album, it just didn't sell that.
But the climate around LA at the time was Waiting for a Girl Like You was a big ballad. You know? That was all over the radio, and I think we started. Well, let me just kind of go back here with my meeting with Gene. Adam Mitchell had mentioned to Gene that I was a real good player and writer, and that he should meet me. So we did arrange a meeting at Adam's house, and to really tell you the truth, I was in awe meeting Gene Simmons. I was speechless.
First time we saw him without his makeup, I guess.
It was. But, you know, personally, I just lost it, you know. This was Gene Simmons, you know. Like, there's Paul McCartney, there's John Lennon, there's Simmons and Stanley, there's a few of them, right?
That's right.
And certain people, you know, you just don't say too much, you know, or make a fool of yourself, one of the two. So it was a really momentous time, you know, meeting him, but I think Gene's a very personable human being. He's very nice. I like him very much. And he makes people feel very comfortable, and he knew I was a bit awkward, you know, in meeting him, but he made me feel very good, you know. It was a certain feeling a certain memory I will never forget of him, because he was generous and kind in his personality, you know, and which made me think of him even in bigger terms, you know, like, wow, you know, someone like this could treat nobody like me with, you know, nice. You know? And I drove home in my little car and said, wow, this is the best.
Did he say that's I want you to be in the band?
No. We got together and we decided to try it out writing. And the first song we wrote
Was Ace gone out of the picture?
Ace was not there anymore. He was gone. He really was gone.
But it wasn't announced to the public.
It wasn't announced. It was kept quiet because they were going through some contractual things with Polygram at the time, and it was supposed to be kept very, very, very quiet. And this was it for me. I wanted to be in this band more than anything in life. And what ended up happening was we started writing. First song we wrote was a song called Killer. And I really wanted to prove myself, and I came to him with the song. He liked it. We demoed it on a small tape recorder.
Was this one you wrote by yourself?
I wrote pretty much most of it. It's going back. I mean, we're talking we're talking 15 years ago, so it's hard to remember everything. Most people think these are questions these questions pertain to now, but they don't. I mean, we're talking a lot of years ago. And a long time, 15 years ago. How old are you?
64.
64? 26. 15 years and you were 11. So, I mean, that'll give you an idea how long ago these things happened. So, I was 11 also. So, Killer I wrote, I brought to him, he liked it. He put some things in it, it developed into a better song. And I think we knew we had something. During this period, they were auditioning guitar players for this record. They were in the record plant recording. I think they blocked out or locked out 3 studios at the record plant. That is 3
no
guys.
actual guitar player?
With no recording? Right, with no guitar player. How this whole thing happened between me and them was I had a demo called Back on the Streets that I sent. Michael Jackson, who was their producer, Michael James Jackson, heard this demo and wanted KISS to record Back on the Streets for Creatures of the Night. So I signed a contract that if they use the song, blank, 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 and I said, fine, you know, you want to do my song, be incredible. So that was really the beginning. And I thought, gee, this is finally my first real big break after years and years and years of struggling. So what we did was they were going to record that song, and in the meantime, they were auditioning all these guitar players. I was on the sidelines as writing with them, you know, and it was really weird. It was very awkward because for me, it was the toughest time of my life. I saw these guitar players came in, and yet I felt that we were starting a vibe between us. We had a chemistry going. It was new. It was still in the early stages, and I know that they were feeling me out. And yeah, I was so young and inexperienced.
11, is
I was 11. I was so inexperienced, but they knew how bad I wanted to be in the band.
But they hadn't asked you to actually sit down and audition?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all yet. So the next thing that happened was Killer was finished, and we wrote a song called "I Love It Loud." These are very strong memories for me. Very, very, very powerful memories, because that song, I believe, started at Diana Ross's house. Gene was singing her at the time, and it was, these are amazing stories, you know. She was never around, but she says, meet me over at her house, you know. And it was awesome for me. I was still, struggling.
I was 13, I think.
13.
That was your first Supreme single.
There you go. I mean, here these are things that to me are the most powerful memories that I have, you know.
He was minus 15.
That's right, minus 15. So, we'll get to that. I hope I'm not boring anybody. Is this going on? Is this boring? Or it's boring? I think everybody wants to know these, so I figured I might as well tell it chronologically.
Yeah, I think it's really
Because, when I answer them as a question, everybody never gets it filled in. Anyway, so I'll make it real quick. We wrote I Love It Loud there. That came out great. And I was a little closer to being, being a part of them, but still not really. They still didn't ask me to do it. Gene said to Paul, you should write with this Vinnie I'm writing. It's coming out really good. So Paul and I got together. And we wrote I Still Love You.
You and Paul without Gene?
Without Gene. And then Paul and I developed the chemistry, and it started to go really well. All of a sudden, all these guitar players are auditioning for this Creatures of the Night record. I don't think they were, they didn't find anybody that they were happy with.
Were they auditioning unknown people, or?
They were all unknowns that I was aware of.
Wasn't like Earl Slick and those?
No. And I said, gee, please let me have a shot at the band. I mean, I said, I really want to be in this band. I think I'd be really great for the band. I said, we're writing together. It feels great. The chemistry's great. And, I know what you're looking for. I think we love the same kind of music, and I think I'd be great for your band. And Jill said to me, I think you're too short. I think you're way too short. And I said, I don't think that really matters. anyway, he said, nah, I don't think it's going to work, you know. So I was really, really crushed, really depressed. So one day, he called me and he said, we're going to record your song, Back on the Streets, today. And I just almost shit. I mean, almost died. I mean, these are big moments for me. And they asked me to play guitar. And even though I was too short, they asked me to play guitar in the studio. Huh?
It was big.
It was big. So I did. I played guitar on my own song that they were recording, and I said, gee, it's not going to get any better than this. It really isn't. So the track came out. Paul sang lead on Back on the Streets. And I think that was going to come out for Creatures of Red album. That was one that we recorded for him. So this is how it all began. I mean, I'm just putting it together for everybody, so you know how it began.
So meanwhile, they were still auditioning taller people.
Still auditioning taller, great looking. I mean, these guitar players were just, they could have been models, and they were just great.
They couldn't play.
Well, no, I think a lot of them were really good players, and I just didn't think I had a chance in the world. I was too short. There's a lot better looking than me, I thought, hey, oh well, we're writing anyway. Right? What are you going to do? That's life. So, I don't know, where
So then...
Oh, so then
he said, you played on the song, they must have liked what they heard at this point.
I think so, and I think the writing was really going real well. So they said, well, look, it's going really well. Why don't we have Vinnie play on some other songs?
Did you put you on a stretching board or anything at this point?
Stretching board? Yeah. Not yet. Not yet. That came later. So they had me playing in a few other songs, and it started to click in the studio. And they found that my style was very compatible with theirs, what they were looking for. So I ended up playing on I Love It Loud. Oh, you might want to ask me what songs I played on.
So what did you play on?
Here we go. There you go. So I Love It Loud. Danger. Yeah. Keep Me Coming. Yeah. Oh God, what's the other one? There you go. See, you probably remember better than me. Saint Sinner.
War Machine.
Well, he played on the other
War Machine.
Killer.
Is there anything left over?
Killer. They were still all. I'm sorry, which one?
Rock and Roll
No,
Howl.
I didn't play on that one. I didn't play on I Still Love You and Creatures. Those were 3 songs I did not
What do
play
you
on.
think played on?
I don't remember, but these were other players that were auditioning, and I think they had some of these players come in and audition actually in the studio.
So in other words, you got a free session right now.
Well, I don't know. I really don't know how it worked, but I think that's how they were finding out if the people were what they were looking for. This is what I think.
But meanwhile, Ace's picture appears on the album.
And I think they still had contractual obligations, and I think that's why it had to be fulfilled. Once the record was done, they asked me to join the group. That's what happened.
And the tour was planned for...
The tour was
A
planned.
few weeks later.
Right. Well, not a few weeks.
What's the weeks after the album?
I think they asked me to join somewhere around the end of September.
That's
In
81?
September of 81, right. In the September of 81. I'll tell you what I do remember.
What's the question?
Why did he do the promotion for? I don't really know the exact
Did you do the
answer.
promotion for yourself?
I think, and I'm answering, I think it was just simply contractual obligations, I think. But Ace, I only met Ace once, and I liked him very much. He wished me a lot of luck. And
Fun guy.
a fun guy, sorry, I think it was no, it was once, and it was during the I Love It Loud video. And he was in that video. I was at the video shoot. I liked him. Very, very nice guy, and just wish me luck. And
He was definitely, like, there was no way he was coming back. We got that feeling.
well, I mean, I really don't know. I'm an outsider here. You know, this is not the inner workings are not, my business, and this is their band. I really didn't know what was going on, but he was apparently not coming back.
And that's pretty much the end now. He did the video.
Mm-hmm.
And you were doing the rehearsals, I assume, for the next tour.
Right. There was a very, very big contract that they wanted me to sign, and it was too big, and it was too uncomfortable. And we tried to negotiate it, We actually spent 2 years trying to negotiate it.
Really?
With a lot of lawyers and a lot of money and a lot of headbanging.
Through all this time,
Through all this time, not only did we do the Creatures of the Night tour, the Lick It Up, the Brazil gig, writing for Lick It Up, then Lick It Up album, and the Lick It Up tour, we were still negotiating this band member.
well, and it should be brought out that Creatures of the Night did okay, but it didn't go gold or anything at the time. It was really, Lick It Up. And in fact, as a person who listens to music all the time, I said, "Oh, who's this?" Dude, and it's Kiss, because I could tell it was the voices. And I said, "This is great." And when I got the record, it was the first record I liked in a while for Kiss.
Was this Lick It Up album?
Yeah, Lick It Up. And of course, I haven't liked one since. To be honest
Well, I think
sorry.
the Creatures tour was very hard for me. It was a difficult tour because I know they were, they missed Ace a lot. I could feel it in just the, it's hard to play with someone for 10 years and you develop a style and a sound, especially from a guitar player's perspective. The guitar player's sound and style changes the sound of the whole band.
Especially if it's a hard rock band, obviously.
Right.
Not to change the subject, but you had to wear makeup. Did you design the makeup, or did they do that for you?
Paul came up with that. I thought that was just brilliant, but I have a lot of pictures of me with different Kiss
Who's the
makeup
guy
that we
here?
tried.
Excuse me. Who's the guy wearing the makeup? Where is he? Bring him up here. Want to see your makeup on somebody else?
Looks great. I could see it from here. Amazing. It looks great. But we tried a lot of different things, and Paul came in one day with this Ankh, and I thought it was just brilliant. We tried it on, we drew it on, and everyone said, "Yeah, that's it. It looks like that's what we're going to use."
Was it tedious and difficult putting it on? Did you dislike it?
No, not at all. I thought it was fun that here I am putting on Kiss makeup and being in one of the best rock bands ever in the world,
Yep.
and for me to have been a part of it was unbelievable. Hey, that looks great.
There you
Wow.
go.
Gee, it looks incredible.
Vinnie now and then.
Right.
The jacket?
Wow.
There you go. Blue
It's
oyster cult, I
it's
think.
great. Thank you very much. It looks great.
So now, the really big thing is that you were involved in the taking. Thank you. You were involved in the taking off of the makeup and the public finally seeing this band with their regular faces.
It was a big thing. I felt it was you have to imagine how incredible it would have been to be a part of coming in there with the makeup on and then going through this, historic, removal, because no one had ever seen the band. That was really part of the nature of that group, was to never see their faces, and it was all.
I don't think their pictures were ever published.
Never,
really.
never. And one thing I do remember was the Brazil show. It was hysterics there, and people were trying to take pictures of you without your makeup. And I remember one security guy running half a mile to grab a camera from a guy that took our picture, without makeup on.
They're very protective.
Very protective, and so that was something Kiss prided themselves on, was they didn't, want anyone to see the makeup on. So anyway, we were doing great. We had a great chemistry. I think at some point they started getting used to my guitar, my sound, who I was, fitting into the group, the writing. It started to grow, it started to gel, and you can never replace somebody. You either have to become who you are and make the new thing work is with you, but you can't go back. And I could never replace Ace. Ace had his thing, and Kiss were based around that guitar playing. And when that was, when Ace left, I think they had to start a new sound and a new persona and new music. And I think that's how it worked for me being in the group.
Which may be what they never did again after you left.
I'll tell you, I personally think we had a great band. I don't know how everybody else feels out there, but I think we had a great band. Really, best lineup? Thank you very much.
And by the way, put a knock on Bruce Kulick. He's a very good guitar player. But chemistry between people has more to do with the group.
I think no. Say what you're going to say, because I think you are.
Yeah, it doesn't. You can take 4 superstar great players, but they may not mesh, as well as 4 lesser players might mesh. put a great sound together.
And then sometimes, you know, the lesser players, but the chemistry is wonderful, and that is what captures people's attention. I don't know what it is, but I think we had it.
I think we did.
And I think it was, to me, it's a real loss for all of us, I think. Maybe, I don't think they would admit it, and maybe that's okay. People have to say what they want to say. I respect anybody's opinion because, you know, you can't change anything, anybody. So you choose to let everybody say what they want, and it's okay, you know. One way or another, life goes on. But I think it was such a great band, and the potential of it could have been amazing. Personally, this is my opinion. I think musically it could have been absolutely the best band ever. And because I think we were really developing and growing, and by the time the end of Lick It Up, we just couldn't come to business terms, and this is what ended up happening. And the last thing I remember saying to them was, after the tour was over, Gene was making a movie at the time, and he said, well, why don't you go and record your songs, everybody's going to demo the new songs, we'll meet, come back, and, you know, pick the new songs for the new record. And I think they were going to do Animalize, that was the next record. So I went into a recording studio, and I was depressed. I was really in a depression because I really wanted this band to work out. And I think, you know, they knew Lick It Up was finally working. The fans accepted the new lineup, and this is really going to work. And I said, look, the business is not working out for me. It's business here. And I was very unhappy, very depressed, and I said, well, I'll go record my new songs. I recorded Boys Are Gonna Rock, Shoot You Full of Love, Animal. You notice I'm Twisted. I Want to Be Your Victim.
No substitute.
No, I didn't record this yet. I didn't record that, but thank you, No Substitute. Anyway, those were going to be the songs that I was going to bring into the band as my new songs for the new record. And I said, gee, I think the guys are really going to like these songs, you know. And I thought they were the best songs I'd written in a long time, and, you know, I thought they were going to be great KISS songs. And I was having such a great time because I had the freedom finally to be in a studio and to record my music the way I thought. It was just coming really out of me.
And who was playing drums and you can voices here?
I'll tell you how I record. This is how I record. I record everything with a drum machine. I play all the bass guitars, do all the background vocals. Then I find a drummer who I put on the tracks. And I found Myron Grumbacker from Pat Benatar's band. Anybody remember Myron? He was a great drummer. And I called this singer up, Robert Fleischman, and I said, come on, I want you to sing some of this stuff. And all of a sudden I said, uh-oh, I like this, you know. And Gene, Paul, and myself at this point tried to work out our business arrangement, and it wasn't going to happen. And I was really very upset about it. And it was a real gamble I had to take. I felt really adrift out at sea in this little tiny boat with no life preserver, you know, and it felt real scary. Because I struggled all my life, finally became, you know, joined the best band in the world, you know, one of them, you know, and it was...
You were ready to go sleep on floors together now.
Yeah, if it had to, you know. So it was really sad to make a decision, but, you know, business is what it's all about behind all the other stuff. So if it couldn't be put together right, it wasn't going to happen. So here I was with these new songs, and I thought they were really good. And I offered them to Polygram. I said, you know, they had first right of refusal. You know that they passed, they didn't like them? They didn't like them. And I said, uh-oh. And I just spent $100,000 of my own money on all this stuff. But a year and a half went by. Let's see, it was 1984, 1 year went by. George Stewart heard it and said, hey, this is very, very hot stuff. And he said, I'm going to take it to Chrysalis and see what they think. So he did, and they went wild. They really went wild. They loved it. And they offered me a very, very, very big contract, a very big deal. And it was a new moment for me, you know. It was another time, another new experience. You know? And
you did 2 Vinnie Vincent Invasion albums.
Did 2 Vinnie Vincent Invasion, and you know those questions, you had some good questions on there on that, or whoever had some of those questions, because I wanted to ask some invasion questions on there.
See what they were.
Oh, well,
when's your new record coming out?
I've been working on this record for quite a long time. It's been about 5 years. I hope it's going to come out soon. I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to put it out on my own record label. And it's taking so long to put all of it together. There's a lot of money involved. It's very costly to put everything together yourself. But this is what I want to do at this time of my life. And have my own record label. I've been working on a record that I think, this is my opinion, I think it kills. It's really something that I can listen to and just say, I'm so proud of this because I've never heard a record like this before. And I have Fleischman singing on it. I sing some songs on it because people have always asked me to sing it. I said, well, this would be the time to do it, you know?
Well, here's a good invasion question that might have.
You know, he asked me when this is coming out. I wanted to get it out this year, but we just still haven't finished putting tying up all the loose ends to the record company. It's called Metaluna Records, and I got that name from this science fiction monster called Metaluna Mutants, from this old 50s sci-fi movie, and it's a really crazy-looking beast. And we're just trying to get European distribution. Once we do, then the record will finally be out. And it's going to be called Guitarmageddon. Yeah! It's a wild record. It is so wild.
It's funny, I'm putting a record called that out next week.
I knew it. See, I knew someone was going to come out with that.
Yours could be again.
Well, that's right. You know, that's right. It'll be reprised. You know.
Well, let me ask you this question. The question is, the story surrounding your finding Mark Slaughter for the invasion revolves around him sending a tape with no address. Is this true? You got 10 seconds to answer this, by the way. Is this true, or something? Oh, or something the label designed? And okay, so go ahead.
In one word, you want one word?
Is it true?
Absolutely no.
So it's
Not true.
Publicity stunt.
There was too much publicity. This really started off as my precious, cherished little dream. And unfortunately, I created a monster, a Frankenstein monster. And it had no heart, no soul, and it had to really be put out of the misery that was my misery. The singer, the original singer that was on the first record, did not want to sign a contract with Christmas Records because it really guaranteed him no money. That's why Ronald Fleischman, you never saw him again. And there was very carefully created, fabricated stories about everything in that group. That story about this what you just mentioned is absolutely not true. All publicity, people trying to put stories together. And it got to be shameful after a while because it started with, it started with music. It started with what I felt I believed in, and it turned into this mess. And, there was a big glam scene going on in LA at the time, and I felt like I had to compete with that. And in retrospect, I don't think it was what I should have done. But that was then, and this is now, and you grow, you mature, and this is where we are. But Mark Slaughter came about through someone just said, we need a replacement for Fleischman. I said, absolutely not. Not this person. He doesn't have, no, it just really was not, this is not in a bad way. You know that comedian, Don Marreri says, I don't mean that in a bad way, it really just didn't have the voice for me. It's a big world. I wish everybody the best. There's a lot of success out there. Anybody can have it. If you want it, you go out and get it, If I can help you get it, I'd be glad to, But he didn't have the voice for me.
But you did use it on the whole album.
Well, I use him. He was there. He was there. He sang these songs. I chose to not be in their studio as much as possible. The record came out, and I knew it should never have come out. He should never have been the voice on that music. But I really liked him. We tried to work. I tried to believe that it could work, but in my heart, I knew it wasn't right. It wasn't to the quality standards that I wanted, and there was a lot of trouble inside of that. People wanted to be rock stars, and trying to get pictures of themselves in magazines and stories about themselves. And I just basically said, well, what have you done? Who are you to get stories about yourself, screwing girls and, like, oh, partying, like, who cares, This is about music. And the publicity was so out of control, and stories were fabricated, like, everywhere. Finally, I just said, everybody's fired. Goodbye. You're all fired. Have fun. Good luck. Wish you a lot of success. Goodbye. Thank you. It didn't go over well, and Chrysalis, I was on my third record option with them. It was September of '88. And they had to answer the option by a certain date. I think it was September 15th. I told my manager I don't want to renew my option with Chrysalis. I just don't want to do it. So what ended up happening was Mark and the rest of these people signed this leading member option contract with Chrysalis, and they picked the option. And they had a very successful record. And I wish them a lot of luck. I hope they still do. It's a big world. There's success enough for everybody, but it didn't work out well for me. And it's really that simple. I just didn't find the quality of what I was looking for. And I wish everyone well. I really do.
And on that note, he's going to sign something for everyone. We can take a little break, and we'll let you know when. And I want to give him a really big round of applause for being honest and telling his story. Vinnie Vincent.
Thank you very much. If Gene and Paul and I ever get our business together, I think we still have one hell of a band. What do you think? Yeah! I still do. I still think it would be one hell of a best, one of the best bands. It's just a way with everybody,
Is it money or rights?
That's in the book. Really, it's true.
That's right. For the rest of the story, there's still more. You gotta get the book.
That's right. This is just the first chapter.
What do you think about this book?
Thank you very much. It was really fun. I'm glad you all had me here. This is an honor for me. And
Let's hear it with me.
Take some questions.
I hope everybody enjoyed some of these stories, But a lot of people always want to know how it happened. And,
What do you think about the book?
Take some questions. Take some questions.
What about the book? What do you think about it?
I don't know. From what I've looked in the book, it looks great.
You got one?
History book.
No. It looks like
A little too expensive for both of us.
No, I can't afford that book.
Amen.
No, it looks like a gorgeous book.
Vinstory.
It's called Vinstory. That's right. Vinstory.
All right, we gotta let Vinny take a little bit of a break, and then you're all welcome to.
We'll see you in a bit. Okay.
What we're gonna do is we've got the Little Red Carnival tickets. You know about that? Everybody got yours? We're gonna call off the numbers 1 through 100. Well, it's not gonna be exactly that number. You look at your ticket. If you're in that 100 that we call, you'll come to a certain spot. We'll tell you where, and we'll whip through some autographs, and everyone here should be able to get them. Okay? Thanks very much.